We here.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the 6 Yard Box podcast. We're happy to have you here. Me and Antoine are here reacting to the first couple of games of the Club World Cup in what is episode 105.
Mhm.
Okay.
You said me and Antoine. You forgot something at the end there.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Just pretend that to happen real quick.
Okay.
Just me and European Chief.
Oof.
I was about to say European Chivu. We're just gonna. Yep. Me and European champion Antoine is here. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing amazing.
Your
Doing
team
great.
is
Soon to be world champion. You might have to. Add, you might have
European
to add that.
and world
You
champion.
might have to add that
No.
to the. No, you have to.
No, I'm not
You
doing that.
have
I'm
to.
not doing that. We're not regarding the winner of the Club World Cup as the world champion. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
fair.
We're just not doing it.
If Portugal win next year's World Cup, then I'll address you as world champion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe if Poland do it as well, but. We know
Does
that-
does it
we-
haunt you that we have an Emmy Martinez kit up in the studio now?
The fans can't see it, but I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I don't know how Blake will feel
I
about it.
really like this one up here.
Fabian Ruiz
Yeah.
got us his goal
Scored another
yesterday.
one.
Yep.
Man, this guy in summer tournaments. You know how
Yeah.
people are like, "What's your favorite version of players?" I think when this is all said and done, if Fabian Ruiz stays on the trajectory that he is in during summer tournaments, then the player that I'm gonna put forward when asked that question will be Fabian Ruiz during summer tournaments. You see that guy in the Euros last year, bro?
I know.
Oh my god.
You were pissed at him in the Euros last
Yeah,
year
because look at
because
this-
this guy was, where is this for PSG?
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. And now he's doing it again.
Yeah.
This time for PSG. So good job.
No complaints there. Big monster sip.
You get a sponsor going.
We do.
How's been your experience watching the Club World Cup lately, Antoine? Tell me
Look,
about
I
it.
was really excited for it. The first game was a 0-0, but it was an interesting 0-0. It wasn't a dull 0-0.
Yeah.
There's some things that I like with the Club World Cup. There's some things that I don't like.
Yeah.
I like how they're testing things. The ref cam I really like.
Yeah.
There's one
The fact that they have to announce the decision too, I like.
yeah, I like
Yep.
that too. Like there's some things they need to bin off, like the players walking out one by one.
The NBA style
What are
walkouts.
we doing?
I can never get behind.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that I really like. One of the things I don't really like is some of the stadiums. Like the PSG Atletico game was played in the Rose Bowl,
Mm.
and you could just tell that it's not a footy stadium.
Mm.
Like, it's a very iconic stadium for everything.
What? I'm a bit of a casual. What is played there?
It's I believe it's the UCLA's stadium for their college football games.
You are right.
Yeah,
You are right.
and it's packed during college football
Yeah.
game nights. But you can tell just from something as stupid as the camera angle
Mm.
that it's not a footy stadium.
I was telling you this earlier before we started recording, but there's just something about PSG Atletico, two titans of Europe, playing in the middle of a bright hot day
Yeah.
that just doesn't feel right. Whenever we've seen that, it has been a preseason friendly in America
Mhm.
or wherever else it was. But it wasn't a game that's taken seriously when those two teams are playing in that kind of setting. Like you want that game under the lights, you want that at prime time.
Yeah.
You want that, in front of a European passionate audience. And we didn't see no bright lights besides the sun yesterday. We also didn't see that European passion that I
Low
Would love
key
to
though,
see.
I was surprised because I understood that PSG we have crazy fans, but I was hearing the PSG chants.
were you
In the
wasn't
Rose
hearing,
Bowl.
I wasn't hearing.
I was
nothing.
hearing some PSG chants in
Really?
the Rose Bowl, and I was like, Are we really just international like that?"
No flares, no.
No flares, unfortunately. I
Ah.
don't think any megaphones either. Yeah, they would have got seized at the border, I think. Yeah.
shipped back immediately.
Yeah.
Uh,
But overall, it's been a good experience so far. It's only been 2 days. We've had some good games. Even the Porto Palmeiras game, which we will get onto later.
the
It was a
atmosphere,
good
the atmosphere was
0-0.
there,
And
and
the atmosphere was there.
the game was there. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's because the Brazilians are a little closer, but and
Yeah,
it's easier for them
There's
to
a
travel.
there's a I think it was played. Where was it played? It was played in the MetLife, which is like New Jersey. There's like a Portuguese and like a Brazilian
Okay.
like stronghold there already.
Gotcha.
So naturally, it's like if Benfica played here in Little Portugal.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
gonna be some passion, right?
I know you're there.
I'm there.
Big game for you today, eh?
Big game for us today. I wish we weren't recording before this game was
Yeah.
happening, but
Unfortunate.
unfortunate. Massive game against Boca Juniors. Kind of decides how Group C is going to go in this tournament. If we get a result here, which I believe we can, then we're looking in prime position.
Yeah, for sure.
I do have to make a little correction because I was made aware today that Angel Di Maria is playing.
Oh yeah.
I was not aware of this. I saw Fabrizio Romano say a couple weeks back that he was leaving before the Club World Cup. I saw Miles put him in his Club World Cup fantasy team. I was like, what is this buddy doing? So get this brother out. But now I'm seeing that he will actually play.
So
I'm seeing some conflicting reports. I don't know.
Does that change your opinions on, what was his name, Schulderup?
Schelderup, yep.
Being an up and coming player in this competition?
Well, he still can, like he was over the entire season, come off the bench and do something. I still believe that. He was never going to be like the leading factor of the Benfica team, so it doesn't change,
Of course.
how I feel about the team overall. I guess it does kind of positively because Di Maria is going to play.
Right.
But then you have to think of the question of like, okay, how is his body going to look? How are the players going to look? Are they going to be a little bit tired? Are they going to feel a little bit defeated after the season we've just had? Or are they going to come with a little more passion because of how the club is looking right now? We could really use the cash injection. And then how is Boca going to play? Obviously, they won't have Edison Cavani playing. He's at least doubtful with a calf injury. We don't have players like Alexander Baugh, which sucks, obviously. He's been out for a while now. But I'm kind of 50-50 on it. And you bet your ass if we lose, I will gaslight myself into thinking this tournament isn't important.
Stop.
If we win, I'll be telling myself this tournament is everything. If
you,
we win, I want to be referred as world champions. Thank you.
And if you draw, that's crazy. If you draw, then it kind of all depends on who batters Auckland more.
Because so crazy.
Because you're going into the Bayern game probably assuming that you would lose, even though Benfica could probably put up a little bit more of a fight than Boca Juniors can.
Yes.
So I'm like thinking that you guys both win against Auckland. It's literally down to who scores more goals against Auckland for the qualification.
Could you imagine what's the order in which we play them?
I think you play Bayern second.
No, we play Bayern third.
You play Bayern third.
So we might have to go into the Auckland game and we're like, lads, we need 12 for safety. Oh my god, which is so possible.
How many goals are Auckland City conceding in this tournament? Over under 20.5. Over?
We're halfway there already.
Yeah. But you have two worse teams coming up against them.
Yeah, but you're not going to be playing with as much heart.
I think you are.
I think you're playing way more defeated.
Are you crazy?
Like the novel of the Club World Cup is there, obviously. Like you played your first game against Bayern Munich. You've had that, circled on your calendar. It was coming up. You were telling your family about it. Then it happens. You lose 10-0. Now you have to play two other football giants.
Julian, you're telling me
that Benfica and Boca Juniors don't have the ability to smash semi-pro players 10-0.
Yes, but you're telling me that that there was any Auckland player in that team that had a little bit of hope going into this Bayern game? Absolutely not. I don't even think they're defeated one bit.
No, but I'm just saying they're giving their everything there. By game 3, are they giving their everything? I don't think any right-minded human being is giving everything in game 3 if you've lost both games by a combined score of like 16-0.
So over 20.5 then.
Over 20.5.
That means
the real question is, do they get one goal? Do they score a goal?
Look, honestly, they created a little bit of chances against Bayern.
I think they
towards
can
the
do it.
end and at the beginning of the second half too, there was one chance.
Yeah,
I think they can do
the
it.
The last moment of that game against Bayern.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know what that guy was
doing. On a different day, that game ends 10-1.
You gotta cross it. On their day, it's 10-1.
Yeah,
man, Bayern are lucky.
But 20 goals conceded would mean, or 21 goals conceded because you said over, would mean Benfica would need to at least score 6 and Boca 5. That's crazy, bro.
I think Benfica get more than 5.
That's crazy. I don't think they do, bro.
But they're a semi-pro. Half the fucking team
couldn't
get time off work and had to miss the tournament, Antoine. Their goalkeeper's a forklift operator. A forklift operator. They're hosting watch parties at the warehouse watching this guy.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I don't think I think it's 17.
I think that's...
I'm stopping on 17.
I think that's disrespectful to Boca Juniors and is disrespectful to Benfica to insinuate with such boldness that we don't have the ability to smash a semi-professional team.
Well, you know what? I think it's disrespectful to Auckland City. And I'll stand by that point. I think it's disrespectful to Auckland City.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Is it wrong though?
No, it's not wrong.
Like, come on now.
Why are they in this?
Do they score a goal? I think is the real question.
I think they do. Do they? Against Boca.
You don't want to be the defense conceding to Auckland City.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a bad look.
It's a really bad
It's a
look.
bad look.
I think they get one.
Yeah?
I think they get one in these next 2 games. I think they concede 10, but they get one.
If they concede 10, they still won't pass 20.
Or they concede 11
Okay.
or more. And then they score 1.
I think I'm targeting the Auckland City defense in my fantasy. Whichever attacker is playing Auckland City, I'm captaining that.
That's I don't know why I didn't do that already. I brought in Elise for the Auckland City game. I was going to bring in Harry Kane for the Auckland City game. He didn't get any goals or any assists somehow.
Yeah.
Should have brought in Musiala as well, apparently.
He didn't start.
I'm just pissed that I didn't captain Elise. That was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor from you.
That was poor from you.
Anyways.
Poor from you too.
Poor from me too.
Yeah. What the hell?
For what? Musiala?
Yeah, you didn't captain him.
Yeah, I had Kane though.
You captain Kane?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a honker.
Yeah, but
That's
I
a
switched it.
So Musiala is now your captain.
No.
Okay. So there you go.
But if a captain doesn't perform, you can switch it.
Yeah, but not
That's
after
why
they
you should-
play. But not after they play.
Yes. If
I can switch my captain right now to Michael Elise
no,
because he's
the
played.
captain can have played already, but the person that you're switching it to can't have played.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you can't switch it to Musiala.
Is what I'm
hearing.
strategy. This is FPL talk, but
Yeah, we're getting into Club World Cup fantasy talk.
very early in the pod. But the strategy is you just captain everybody that plays first, like you just in order,
Yeah.
and then whichever one delivers,
Doesn't
you
work,
stick to.
then go
Exactly.
with the next guy. Good point. Yeah, we have made our teams. We've made our league. We can't really do like a whole roundup of it so far
No.
because,
There's still games to be played.
but we'll come to it. Do you want to go over our names? I'm pretty proud of our names.
They're decent. Blake's one is
Rodrigo goes to Arsenal.
Rodrigo goes to Arsenal.
Yep.
7 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
7 out of 10. 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Miles is Mamelodi Miles.
I think it makes sense. The Mamelodi Miles manager. That rolls off the tongue.
Yours is what? I'm doing my best.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Yeah, and mine is Mastantu owning you. I wasn't proud of it.
What are you insinuating with that?
Okay, dude. Like, are you serious? I mean, in the game, bro.
Okay.
Like I own the competition because I finish first every time.
Yeah, that's a good point. You
All
do own me. All right. Anyways, should we get into like the games one by one?
Yeah, wild start to the pod.
I feel like we're really
Very ping pong start.
Yeah. This is what happens when we have 2 people. We just roll off the
Yeah,
top.
we just fire.
Let's get into the opening game. I have my trepidations with this game, although it wasn't that
Dude.
bad from like a football perspective.
It was a good game. It was a really
we
good
already
game.
mentioned it, but the NBA style walkouts.
And it's also the delayed announcements from the stadium guy on the
Yes.
names because
Yes, bro.
you could see Messi was walking out and everybody's cheering and the guy's going Segovia. Like, dude, it's not Segovia walking out.
I know.
It's Messi.
And there's the whole presentation before that. It's just they're
Do you like-
replicating
Do you like the face-to-face thing?
the face-to-face
So
thing.
when they're all out, you know how usually they're in a line. It's a
Yeah.
huge line.
Yeah.
Here it's one team and facing the other team, so they're just dead looking in their eyes.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't even
I think
notice
it's like
that.
NBA style as well.
I thought they just walked out and then I just saw the handshake line like right
Or
away.
at least in the first game, it was like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't like the presentation is on the level of the actual World Cup, but we have to stop pretending that this is the World Cup. We have to stop. I have my issues with the Club World Cup, which we're going to get onto later. It's not that I think they should scrap this entire tournament.
No, that's
But-
crazy.
It's just like certain aspects that they're forcing. I just,
It's just trial and error. I think they're ultimately just doing this to see what works for next year. It's literally just a dress rehearsal for next year, if we're being honest. Same country, same cities, same stadiums.
yeah.
They're just rehearsing for what next year is gonna bring.
And I understand that, but like you also don't need to. It's not like we're rehearsing in Qatar right now. It's not like we're rehearsing in a country that has never hosted something to this level like the World Cup.
Right.
Like the U.S. can deal with it. Like they know how to. We know which stadiums will work. We know which stadium hasn't worked. We know by history where teams have played in the U.S. and which stadiums are better for footy and what is not. We have that planned out already. We don't need the Club World Cup to go out and test it out there. Like we know. It's just. The reason that they're doing the Club World Cup like this is not to test out the U.S. It's just,
It's not to test out the U.S., but I think it's to see what works and what doesn't. Like, if next year there's players walking out NBA style, then I'll change my mind. But I think next year they're scrapping that.
No, I don't think they're scrapping.
I think they're scrapping that next year.
No, they're not fucking scrapping that. I doubt it. I think
from all the feedback,
I think they'll 3x it.
Really?
Yes, bro. I think they will, because if the World Cup wasn't in the U.S., I think they wouldn't do as much of that shit. But, like, you saw how Infantino was hyping it up. He said, I think it's like 104 games total of the World Cup. Next year, he said it's 104 Super Bowls. If you're going for 104 Super Bowls, that's like, the presentation for the opening game is going to be fucking insane. And it's going to be maybe even more than we saw here for the Club World Cup. It's just... I think back to, I think it was 94 they had in the U.S. And I remember the presentations and shit that they had for that was crazier than the World Cups after it. Because of the fact it was in the U.S., they're really trying to pour their efforts and time and energy into growing the game in the U.S. And they kind of overdo it every single time. Like they had a big ass like parade for it. I remember like they overdid it in 1994. What are they going to do in 2026? So... I think if you don't like the whole presentation of the Club World Cup, just wait till next year. It's gonna be.
You think
it's gonna be even crazier.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll be there for it. The energy will be there. I'll like the presentation.
There's also always a different vibe when it's the World Cup.
Because it's the World Cup.
We're not feeling this vibe right now because it's the club.
Exactly.
I'm still feeling a little vibe.
It's like you arrive at the party, you're a couple of drinks behind everybody, you're still dead sober. Everybody else is like getting turned up, but like you're just not.
You'll catch up. You'll catch up though.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's just like. It's like you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job. Like the party is there. Like good organization, but we're just not feeling it.
I think the reason why I'm so, why there's still a little bit of excitement for me is because of the late kickoffs. This is what the Brits get every Champions League night. They get games at 9 p.m.
That part I do like.
That's fun.
But then for the Brits as well, who are driving a lot of this narrative around the World Cup, Club World Cup, because let's be real, they own the discourse of general football, at least that we watch. They have to stay up to like 3 a.m. to watch these games, and they're not liking that shit. And when they're staying up to watch a 0-0 between Al Ahly and Inter Miami, and the presentation is starting 10 minutes before it should already because of these presentations, that's going to leave an even more sour taste in their mouths.
Sure. Yeah. That's fair.
I have more to get into about the Club World Cup after, but
wow, there's more.
No, there is more. There's more. I want to get into the actual game.
Right.
So good game, right?
A great game, honestly. Great game.
I don't have much to say.
No, I mean there's some talking points. First, the most notable one is probably the goalkeepers. The goalkeepers turned into Prime Neuer and Prime Courtois in the same game. Like,
well, I would say the strikers turned into Prime.
I
World Cup Higuain.
You could tell Suarez passed it.
Yes, bro. Look at his picture. He's got gray hair.
Yeah, but I think the story of the game is that it was just mainly a tale of two halves. In the first half, I was very impressed at the intensity that Al Ahly brought to the game. I wasn't surprised because I knew that they were coming into this tournament trying to prove something to the world. A lot of people don't know this Al Ahly team, and they knew that. So their main goal was going into this tournament and starting on the front foot. There's an offside goal in the first half, and then there's the penalty miss. Who, by the way, I think the striker should have shot it, because there's an interview after he says an interview, and he's like, I'm usually the number one penalty taker, but Trezeguet wanted to take it, and he ultimately missed all this. So in the first half, I feel like Al Ahly are a little bit hard done by, because one, they probably should be up 1-0, and two,
at least
Aviles, the Inter Miami center back, should be sent off, if we're being completely honest. He has one yellow card and he goes into a challenge. studs up. It's the clearest foul I think I've ever seen in terms of yellow card, maybe even a red card if you want to if you want to go to that level, and he just doesn't get a booking. It's just a free kick, just a warning from the referee. At what point do you see that and say that might be a little bit of a robbery going on there?
What did I say last week? FIFA would love if Inter Miami do well in this competition. They would love it. I thought the finishing was poor. The defending was almost even worse. Like, I think the two Inter Miami center backs, I think they were both 21. So like, when you put that in perspective, like we're 21 ourselves, it's
28 for the
for Falcone,
Frizzy boy,
and then the right back is 22, the left back is 21. Okay, so the defending, specifically with the balls like over the defense, the through balls. Schoolboy defending is all I'm gonna say. How Al Ahly didn't get at least one in the first half, I have no idea. But Inter Miami looked better in the second.
They did, but they looked more intense in their pressing. I think that's the biggest thing. In the first half, they were kind of just letting Al Ahly play and stay on the ball in their own half, and kind of sitting back and absorbing the pressure that Al Ahly was bringing. But in the second half, it really seemed like they wanted to get on the front foot. It really seemed like they wanted to create chances, and they did. And
they did.
El Shanawi, the goalkeeper for Al Ahly, had a great second half.
He did. I thought that Messi free kick went in. I got up out my chair. I thought it went in.
You know the funny part is that before the free kick, they cut on the broadcast. They cut to this girl. She's like, Messi, Messi, Messi. Right? She's loving it. She's loving it. The free kick gets taken. I think almost everybody thinks it's in because of just the TV angle.
Especially if you're in the stadium.
Yeah, especially if you're in the stadium on that side of the.
You think it goes in.
You think it goes in, right? Yeah. And then they cut back to this girl, and she's like,
gone.
And it just didn't go in, did it? It just didn't go in, and she's so passionate. I kind of felt bad. I can't lie.
Somebody tell her.
Yeah, somebody let her know. Oh, on live TV too.
Legend says she's still celebrating.
Yeah. I thought that went in though too.
I did, because it's the way that the ball like just goes up the net and like kind of. Anyways, and then that Messi chance right at the end of the game, which was a cross.
It was a cross.
I have to say, the commentators glazing Inter Miami in this game,
and it's almost like it almost made me hate watch Messi because the commentators were just fucking glazing the guy.
Yeah,
like obviously he's the best player of all time. But you can tell he's just way past it, first of all. There's still moments of brilliance there, but the way that the commentators were talking about this guy and what he was doing on the pitch did not translate to what he was actually doing on the pitch.
Yeah.
And it made me kind of started, like, I didn't want him to do good, so the commentators could shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
It's so easy to hate on Inter Miami and why they're here because of Gianni Infantino blatantly, like, not letting LA Galaxy, who won the MLS Cup, into this tournament, but allowing Inter Miami in on the basis of they finished with the best record in MLS. They didn't even go past the first round of the MLS playoffs. They got upset so badly. They got embarrassed by Brad Guzan. It's just... it's so blatant bias for Messi, and when you're trying to market this as like the best play the best, these are the best teams in the world, but you're inviting Inter Miami on merits of... let's be real, pretty blatant, let's just get Messi to the World Cup or to the Club World Cup. Let's just get Messi in this tournament to get more eyeballs on this. Then it loses its credibility.
100%.
It loses credibility even more when Infantino then goes on speed stream begging teams to sign Cristiano Ronaldo.
Did he actually do that?
Pretty much.
Oh my God.
Yes, bro. It seems plastic at that point. It doesn't seem like a real football tournament. It loses its sporting merits, or at least the idea of it. And then when you then come on here and then say, like, this is the best playing the best, then it's going to lead to us hate watching the best player of all time, which we hate doing. I'm used to it. But
was that the second part? Was that the second part of your Club World Cup? Or
no,
there's more coming.
No, there's more coming. It's more coming. Like as I think about it.
I want to go back to Al Ahly here. First of all, there's a real problem in the finishing department. I don't think there's a problem in creating the chances, and I think they were quite efficient in doing that, especially in the first half. But when it comes to getting the ball in the back of the net, that's where there's a little bit of trouble. And I don't know where it came from, but it's something that needs to be fixed, because you look at this game, this is probably Al Ahly's best and most favorable game to get running in this World Cup.
Yep.
If there was one game where they should definitely get the 3 points, it was this one. Now they have to play against a Palmeiras side who I think, I can't lie, I have to apologize for underrating because I wasn't familiar with their game. They have a real team. And then you have Porto, who is a European team, and you can never look past that. Now it's looking a little bit harder for Al Ahly to get out of this group. And I'm a little bit worried, because if there's one team that would really represent Africa well, apart from the Sundowns, obviously.
We love the
'Cause now
Sundowns, baby. We love the Sundowns.
This is their the Sundowns' logo.
Is it?
Yes, they all just spam this. No, we're spamming this from now on. But apart from the Sundowns, this seems to me like the team that would represent Africa the best. And if they can't even get out of the group stages,
it looks bad.
It's not a good look at
it.
It
Looks bad, yeah.
Yeah.
I really expected them to win this game, to be honest with you. I think it was a bold but not hot take at all. In Miami, if they get out this group, you will not hear the end of it.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
But there's also a high possibility that it does just end up being Porto versus Palmeiras. Like, I'm really excited to see Rodrigo Mora against Inter Miami, to see Estevão against Inter Miami. These games will be ones that, like, we look back on kind of through the same lens of, like, Ronaldo versus Yamal, where it's like Estevão, if he ends up being a great player, we'll look back being like, hey, remember that one game he played against Lionel Messi in the Club World Cup? That was a good moment.
That's a good point.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
And even the one that just happened, I mean, we can get into the second 0-0 game, which is also in Group A.
Yep.
Estevão versus Rodrigo Mora. If they end up being greats, then that could, yeah.
How this game was another entertaining 0-0.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. And honestly, I've said this just now. I am pleasantly surprised at this Palmeiras team. They have real players. I didn't even know they had Victor Roque, who was in Barcelona 2 years ago. Didn't turn out the best. Then he went to Betis, scored a couple goals, and now coming back to Palmeiras. They also have Richard Rios, who's a center defensive mid from Colombia, who I saw at the Copa America, and I was very impressed with.
I'm surprised.
And to me, he was, apart from the goalkeeper on Porto, for me, I think was the best player on that pitch. That you can tell there's levels between a good midfielder and a great midfielder. Richard Rios really has that potential, at least from what I saw at the Copa America and from what I saw against Porto, to become a very good defensive midfielder. He's very quick on his feet. He's quick on the turn. And he's also tall, so he's able to get those long lunges to get the ball back and things like that. I really like what I saw. And honestly, I thought Palmeiras were kind of hard done by not getting at least a goal in this game. You have the triple opportunity at the end of the first half, where the goalkeeper makes great 2 saves, and then one of the defenders clears it off the line. And overall, it seems to me as though Palmeiras controlled for the most part, the entirety of the game.
What'd you make of Estevão's performance?
I'm getting sold dreams here, and I'm just not dreaming. For now, obviously,
he could end up being a great still.
Yes, obviously, it's against Porto, European team, very structured. They train differently than the technology in terms of just training alone is so much better than the ones in Brazil. Obviously, right? But Messinho brother.
Estevão didn't look good to you?
He didn't. No, he didn't look bad. It's just, I think the media of today hypes up so many people, hype up too many people, that you're just expecting something that is virtually impossible, and then you just disappointed after that. You know, and that's what happened for me with Estevão. I guess the word is disappointed. I was disappointed. Yeah. He wasn't the best player on Palmeiras for me. I think Richard Rios was probably the best player. Yep. He looked electric. Yes, he absolutely did. And from what I've seen, he's a player that can be a real facilitator for his teammates and also has a very, very powerful shot that he can unleash at any time. There's no doubt in his potential. Yeah. But at what point do the big media stop hyping up these youngsters and virtually killing their careers early just to get clicks and views? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this guy has the potential to be someone great. But let's not compare him to Messi at, how old is he? 18 years old.
Yeah.
What are we doing? You know what I mean?
You're right. You're absolutely right. In the same breath, we'll be part of that sensationalized media, clip farming a little bit and coming out with crazy headlines and hyping up young players maybe a little bit before they deserve it. But that's the name of the game. And a lot of the time they do work out very well, and we end up being correct. And it just works out. I'm worried for Esteval because he's going to Chelsea. He's going to be crazy competitive at Chelsea. He's not going to get many chances. He's going to have to go on loan maybe for a little bit. And then I'm just not, if I'm like invested in his career, I'm very worried for the guy because I really don't like the environment that he is going to. And I think it would have been beneficial if he just stayed in Brazil for another year or two before picking a club.
Really?
I think so. Like, if I'm Brazilian, and I've heard this from people that watch the Brazilian league and stuff, like they've been so excited for the Club World Cup, partly because like they want to show one to the Europeans who have all the money, all the attention, right? Who are like the biggest teams in the world, in my opinion. And they want to show that like one, like they are better than the world thinks of them.
Absolutely.
But two, they want to stick it to these Europeans because fuck the Europeans. They be taking our young Brazilian stars at a younger and younger age for more and more money. And just the wealth disparity is growing even bigger every single year. Like Brazil used to be like a haven of football in the world. And like, it's kind of a shame that it's not anymore. I think so. I think so. And like, when I see these like young Brazilians coming through and at 17 or 16 sometimes, you see Real Madrid, Barcelona, United, Chelsea, PSG, all
try
these
to sneak
guys.
United in there.
We've been linked to them. Same thing with Argentina. Like they're already linked with these teams. It's just like they don't even get a chance to shine before they're just stripped away from the Brazilian league, and then the entire league and all the teams suffer. And the fans suffer too. So I do feel bad for them. And for their sake, I hope they show out in this competition. And even though this game was 0-0, if I'm a Palmeiras fan, I'm feeling good about it because they looked like the much better team. I don't know how they didn't score that one chance when there was like a million clearances off the line. And their next two games against Inter Miami and against Al Ahly, I'm expecting 6 points.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling good for their chances.
On the Porto side of things?
On the Porto side of things, I don't have much to say. I'll be
No.
real. David Ornstein looked good in midfield.
What?
The David Ornstein lookalike.
Who's that?
Varela. You know who I'm talking about, bro.
I know David Ornstein.
You've seen his FIFA card. You know who I'm
does,
talking
he
about.
does.
Varela. Yeah.
He
He looked okay in midfield. There's a much beyond that besides their keeper, Claudio Ramos. He looked really good.
I also liked Samu Agehoa's performance. I don't watch the Portuguese league week in, week out. I don't know what he brings technically, but against Palmeiras, I really liked his hold-up play and his technical ease on the ball. It seems like he's very comfortable when he's on the ball.
Yeah.
And for number 9, that's really big, especially for the height that he's at because he's quite tall.
Yeah.
The fact that he's very chill and you could tell he's very technically adept.
Yeah.
I really like that. Rodrigo Mora, I also liked, although there's a lot of you could tell he's still very raw and there's a lot of mistakes there.
Yeah.
He's so electric. And you can tell he's just that type of player that when you need him or at any given moment, he can flip the game on its head.
Every time he gets the ball, something happens.
Exactly. And he's that kind of player where if you see him on the TV, if you're just scrolling on the TV, you're not skipping. You're not skipping the channel.
Yeah.
You're gonna stay to watch him.
Yes.
So I really like the potential that he has for these next few years, and he started to show it in this game in this World Cup.
I'm excited about it, dude. I think
too.
Last week I was a little bit like, should Rodrigo Mora be the one to the left of Cristiano Ronaldo as he's lifting a trophy? I don't know if he has that kind of motion yet.
Yeah.
But in a couple years, if he turns out to be a fantastic player, then
that's
going to be a legendary picture.
Moment. Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be a legendary picture, right?
Exactly.
So, shout out Rodrigo Mora. He's got a very, very bright future.
Mm-hmm.
And as a Benfica fan, I'm a little bit jealous. A little bit jealous.
Oh, he'll leave Portugal soon.
You bet.
Probably this season.
Honestly, and I don't like that, if I'm being real.
Yeah.
Like, they are not even 19 years old, and they are already being linked to the biggest clubs in the world.
Hey, I wouldn't mind a little Rodrigo Mora to PSG.
No shit. You also wouldn't mind a little Mastastuono, but that's not happening.
No, I have my grasp with Mastantuono. Like he can choose Madrid all he wants. We'll go sweep the trophies.
All right, speaking of PSG, commanding 4-0 win against Atleti yesterday. What'd you make of the game?
Very comfortable,
Yeah.
honestly. Very comfortable. I was a little bit doubtful of what this PSG team was going to show coming into this game because of obviously what they just achieved, the biggest moment in their history. It would have been very easy for them to come to this game hungover, not really showing much ambition because what the club wanted to happen for so long had finally happened, right? But I was pleasantly surprised that they're just staying on the same trajectory that they've been on for these last 6 months.
Even without Dembele.
And on top of that, their best player, arguably, was not on the pitch.
Yep.
Is Dembele a system player?
A system player.
No,
You can lead that narrative, brother. You can lead that narrative.
No.
I'll bring it up in October when Ballon d'Or season comes around.
No. I'm joking. But it was very comfortable. And I was really thinking, is there any team in the world right now that can beat this PSG team?
It's a great question.
Because, I mean, it looks like they have mastered every single aspect of the game now. They're making teams like Atletico Madrid look like non-European teams. No disrespect, of course. But Atletico Madrid is supposed to be a real challenger in terms of this game.
Mhm.
Like, it should never be 4-0.
Yeah.
They're making teams like Atletico Madrid, Inter Milan, Liverpool, Arsenal seem like such worse teams than them. They're making them seem like bad teams.
Yeah.
And I really hate the narrative that's going on, especially after the Champions League final. Everyone was saying Inter played a bad game, which they did. But you also have to look at why did they play a bad game? Because PSG completely counteracted everything that Inter Milan had. The same thing is happening here with Atletico Madrid. The same thing happened against Liverpool. Is it really the teams playing a bad game, or is it PSG making the teams play a bad game because of how they're playing? I'm looking at every single team in the world, all the top clubs, and I don't think there's a team that can beat PSG right now.
So favorites for the Club World Cup right now are obviously PSG, you would have to say. Does Bayern stand a chance? Like, they could get you on their day. It has to be on their day. Like, it's not like the biggest clubs in the world here don't stand a chance against you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Same goes for Real Madrid. Same goes for City, who I'd be low-key worried about.
There's just this vibe with PSG. With a lot of teams in the past, you felt like they would just demolish everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Barcelona in 2011. Bayern Munich, Hansi Flick's Bayern Munich in 2020. Manchester City treble winners. You just felt like every single game they went into, they were going to demolish the competition in a convincing manner.
Yeah.
I'm getting that same vibe with PSG. That's how I'm feeling watching this PSG team. They made Atletico Madrid look like Espérance de Tunis. No disrespect.
Yes.
We're cheering for Espérance de Tunis.
Clément Longley looked like he's Espérance de Tunis player.
Yeah.
That defending on the second goal.
Oh my God. But there's questions to be asked. Is when all this is said and done, in 5, 6, 7 years down the line, do we have a dynasty on our hands? Will we have?
It's possible. It's certainly possible. And with the resources you guys have on top of the amazing core
And the young core?
and the young core as well.
The expectation was never to win the Champions League and perform this well this early on in the project. Let's remind everybody.
Yep.
You're
ahead of schedule right now.
We are way ahead of schedule.
Yep.
And for what it is going to bring, I'm very excited for. And I'm scared for the other teams. I'm very scared for the other teams because if we're playing good right now, imagine everybody in their prime at the peak of their powers.
Yeah.
What it's going to look like.
At the same time, just takes a couple of bad games, bad run of form, Luis Enrique leaves for whatever reason, right? And then maybe the next manager doesn't do so well, and then the system just doesn't work out. Maybe you have a couple of injuries that really impact your team, and then all of a sudden you're looking back at this year like, oh my goodness, we had it so easy. I think it'll be very hard for the next 5 years for PSG to be playing in this kind of form and fluidity that they're playing in right now. To expect that for the next couple of years, I think is a little bit too optimistic.
Right.
However, with the resources that you guys have, with the players that you could bring in and add to the system, and the age of your players, I mean, like, they could play a lot of systems and make it work. You know what I'm saying? Like, so form is going to be a big factor here. And it's the fact that I think your best aspect right now, or your most important piece, is your system. Because I think, like, player for player, you don't have the best squad in the world. Like, on paper, I think Real Madrid squad is better than yours. I think Man City squad is better than yours. I think even Bayern has a conversation to be on par or better than you guys. Like, there are a lot of teams where, like, if they figure it out, then they could be dangerous, dude.
Yeah. But it's just the fact that it's so early in our rebuild or project of the new project, I want to say, because there's been a 14-year project that has ultimately failed up until this year. But in terms of the new project, we are so early and we've already achieved this much.
Yeah. If I'm a Marseille fan, I'm depressed. Let's put it like that. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough PSG glazing.
Shout out Fabian Ruiz, man.
Shout out Fabian Ruiz. You want to take down the shirt again?
No, I'll keep it up for today.
Shout out Mayulu.
Shout out Mayulu.
Got another goal.
I think we need to coin a new term.
Oh.
Mayulu time.
We're not coining that term.
What's so funny?
We're not coining
I think it needs to be coined.
Why?
I think because when the game is virtually killed, who adds salt to the wounds?
It's not garbage time, it's Mayulu time.
Who adds salt to the wounds?
Mayulu.
It's Mayulu.
Mayulu time is fucking crazy.
No, you're not.
I'm not feeling Mayulu time. I'm not gonna lie.
No, you're gonna stick with Fergie time.
Sure. From one drubbing to another, should we talk about...
Oh my God.
I mean, there's much more to talk about, really, with the Bayern game. We kind of touched on it already. We're not going to go into some crazy, football analysis.
Yeah, just a complete mismatch, to be honest.
Look at...
It just shows the absolute levels, right?
The momentum chart on football.
Oh God.
It's a thing of beauty. It's just a red, solid
Is it
line
actually?
at the top. Yes, bro. It does not stop.
I wish it would load for me, but...
Coman twice, Sasha Bowie, Elise twice, Muller twice,
Shout out the
Musiala
Frenchman,
3
man.
times.
Shout out the Frenchman.
Shout out the Frenchman, yeah. The moment that I realized the difference between Bayern and Auckland City, not that I didn't know it was there already, but I believe it was Bowie's goal where Thomas Muller receives it on the edge of the box with his back to goal.
Elise.
No. Muller.
Elise's goal, I mean.
Oh, it was Elise's goal?
Yeah.
Okay. It was that moment where Thomas Muller receives it on the edge of the box with his back to goal, right? A player like on his back pressuring him. And he turns him like he's Neymar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is Thomas Muller we're talking about. This guy has the agility of a 24-wheeler. And
an old Thomas Muller too, because
Thomas Muller heading out of Bayern Munich in one of his last games for the club is looking like a spring chicken against these guys. And that reminds me of like the levels of like even the players that are labeled as slow or weak or have a bad shot or any of these traits that we judge as being bad on a professional football scale or top of football scale is still world class compared to the average Joes.
Yeah. Like the average 30 million flop right back in today's game
is cooking at striker.
Absolutely
on
terrorize.
Yes.
Who was it that
went down to like one of the smaller leagues?
Was it Manolas?
Yes, it was. And he played striker.
He played striker.
And he
scored
striker.
5 goals and got subbed off because it was too much.
Yep.
In 30 minutes.
You know the Brian Scalabrine story?
No.
How like he was regarded as like the worst player in the NBA or in NBA history, whatever. Like he'd get hated on so much. And like he would invite people to like play him one-on-one. And this guy would cook everybody. Yeah. Like he went to a park for the full day. It's like all comers, like come play me. If you beat me, I'll give you 10 grand, whatever.
Holy shit.
And this, like, all day, he was draining threes. He would be dunking on people. He had a midi game. Like, this guy he was looking like Michael Jordan against these average Joes. And so you have to remind yourself, this is Brian Scalabrine. This guy is ass.
Yeah.
This guy is ass on an NBA court. But against average people who are good in their own right, in their own environments, this guy is different gravy. So
That's
kind of, we forget sometimes that, like,
we do.
the players that we are calling shit are the best in the world at what they do.
Absolutely. I liked, obviously it seemed quite easy for him, but Musiala coming back from injury, scoring a 17-minute hat trick or something like that.
Didn't get man of the match, though.
Who got it? Olise?
Olise.
I think it's because, first of all, man of the match in these, it's a fan vote.
It's a fan vote?
It's a fan vote.
I didn't know that.
It pops up on your TV. It's a QR code and you vote. Estevao won man of the match for the Palmeiras game. Like the superior player of the match, I think that's what it's called. So, like, come on. What are we doing? But I think it's because they showed the QR code at halftime when Olise had scored 2 goals and assisted 2. So everyone had voted for Olise already before Jamal Musiala came on.
I see.
That's why he won it.
That's kind of dumb.
I'm not really taking these man of the matches very seriously, though.
Yeah, let's be real.
Yeah.
That's kind of dumb. That's really dumb, actually.
It is dumb.
How hard is it to just have somebody decided on merit?
Surprised Messi didn't win it.
Who did?
The goalkeeper.
That makes sense. Good job, fans.
Good job, fans.
Good job, fans. One last game to talk about is Botafogo winning 2-1 against Seattle Sounders last night. I'm going to be so real. Did not watch this game. It was a little bit too late for me. I wanted to get in bed early.
3 headers.
3 headers.
Yeah.
Shout out Alex Telles.
Shout out Alex Telles, who I put in my fantasy team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out me. Just joking. But I think Botafogo are the Brazilian champions, right?
I believe so.
Could they possibly, maybe, perhaps, finish second in this group?
Over at Letty?
Yeah. Could Botafogo finish second in this group?
It can.
It can. It can.
It can.
No, why not? Why not?
Them against Atleti is going to be a very interesting game. Was it Le Normand that got sent off?
It was
Longley. Or is Longley?
Longley.
All right, advantage Atleti. But they won't have him for that game.
Yeah, Longley's having a nightmare of a
tournament so far.
Not even tournament.
Of a season, of a life.
Like last few weeks or last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He absolutely shat the bed against Spain.
Yep.
And in his return to the French national team, hadn't played a game in like a year or something. And then gets sent off against PSG in the opening game of the Club World Cup.
Was he just somewhere else? I swear he was just somewhere else. Was he
Tottenham.
just at Villa?
Tottenham and Villa, something like that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And then he went back to Atleti.
Yeah. I'd rather live in Madrid than
yeah, maybe that life is good.
Than Birmingham.
I mean, at this rate, he won't be there long.
Fair enough.
Yeah, shout out Botafogo. I mean, they look decent. I love the Brazilian teams doing well. I want that side of the world to be happy watching this tournament. And it reminds us that although us Americans or European-centric, I feel like we have the same narrative as like the Europeans are spewing. But us and the Europeans, as much as we hate on this tournament, the Africans, the South Americans, the Asians, like they are all for this tournament. And I love to see that.
Absolutely. The vibe is just so much better overseas in the countries that usually aren't very represented in terms of football. I was going to ask you this. Of all the European teams, of all the non-European teams, so of all the non-European teams, who do you think has the best chance to go far in this Club World Cup?
My casual take is Palmeiras.
Yeah.
But you also have to consider what the path will be if they make it out the group. Because Palmeiras, if they come first or second in their group, are they going to have to play the winner or second place of Group B?
Group B.
Okay, so they're probably going to have to play Atleti
or
PSG. Or maybe Botafogo. I don't know. If they play Botafogo, I like their chances there. If they play PSG or Atleti, different story.
Right.
So who can make like a quarterfinal or after run? I hate this answer, but I don't know. I don't think there's anybody. I don't think there's anybody that beats a European giant in the round of 16.
Really?
And I don't like that. I think if we get to the quarterfinals and it's all European teams, I'm going to be disappointed. Because at that point, you just have a pseudo Champions League. And I was talking about this with my brother yesterday. He was like, "Yeah, I'll start watching like the semis or the final." I'm like, "Dude, you're missing the entire point of the Club World Cup if you were just watching at the semifinals, because then you're not going to take it seriously, and then you're not going to count it as like a serious trophy." The reason, at least that I am hyped for this tournament, is to watch Palmeiras, is to watch Botafogo, is to watch Al Hilal, is to watch like a little bit of the Sundowns. Go Sundowns. You know, it's not because I want to see PSG versus Man City.
Yeah,
I'm not starving for PSG Man City at that point. I'm a little bit like my thirst is quenched for European giants facing each other right now. Like
you almost want a European, you almost want a non-European team, to win the tournament. If
PSG play Palmeiras in the round of 16, I'm sorry, but part of me will be cheering for Palmeiras because I'll be cheering for the underdogs.
I'd have to check. I don't know if it's 1A against 2B. Hold on. Yeah, it is. It's 1A against 2B. So yeah, Palmeiras would be playing against either PSG, Atletico, or Botafogo if they can do well. But yeah, I think I saw the Mamelodi Sundowns, and I'm not glazing. But the Mamelodi Sundowns, if they finish second in their group, they would verse the first place of
Group E.
Group E.
Who will be maybe Inter?
Probably Inter.
Or River Plate Monterrey?
Against an Inter team that just lost their coach.
No, stop it.
Potentially.
Stop it.
No, I'm kidding.
If the Sundowns even make it out of their group, it's scenes.
Yeah. I really hope there's that vibe like at 2010 World Cup when Chabalala scores.
Yes, bro.
I really hope there's that same vibe.
Well, this brings me on to the issues.
Oh, here we go.
With the Club World Cup that I'm also having, right? First is the location of the tournament. I know we talked about, it's practice for the World Cup next year, but as I said, they don't need fucking practice. I don't think they need practice. I don't think they need to host a tournament in the U.S. to know what kind of presentation will work in the U.S. They know what the U.S. is like. They have all these years of like Super Bowls and seeing what the U.S. fans, respond to well. Plus, you have precedent of hosting World Cups in other places where how fans generally are going to react to that, because it's obviously not just American fans in the stadium of the American World Cup. Obviously. Second of all, the point of this Club World Cup for FIFA is to not test out the US as a World Cup venue, but it's also to grow the tournament in general. You want to make a good first impression on the average football fan watching this tournament. And the main objective for FIFA from their perspective to grow the Club World Cup is growth. It's not make money. Okay, eventually the goal is to make money, of course, but nobody's paying for the TV rights. They're probably sinking in a bunch of money into this tournament that they probably won't get back. So the goal should just be put on the tournament that is most likely to get fans on board and best make an enjoyable experience to everybody. And hosting this tournament in the US is not that.
Not the play?
That hosting the tournament in the US is what you do with an established tournament that you want to tour around the world. If taking the World Cup in the US makes sense because you're trying to grow the game in the US with a tournament that is proven to work. Absolutely. Right? If you're taking the FA Cup final, no. Something that's proven to have merit to it and importance and is actually, will be viewed by a lot of people, and you put it anywhere across the world, more people are likely to not care as much about the location of the thing because it's the tournament, whatever. That's why they had I think it was the Spanish Super Cup final in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Dumb, whatever. My point is, I'm going off the rails a little bit here. Main goal is to put on a tournament that fans are going to respond to, so that you do it a couple of times and then the fans eventually grow into liking the tournament. And then once it's a proven product, then you shop it to Saudi Arabia, to Qatar, to the US, which I don't like, but then that's when you monetize off it. You have to grow it before you monetize it, right? They're just straight off the bat going straight monetize it, and it's losing a lot of its appeal as a genuine football product. Especially when you're inviting teams off the merit of having Messi. I don't like that. Nobody likes that. That's not the shit that you should be doing if you're trying to advertise a tournament that is supposed to be the world's best.
Mm-hmm.
Have it in England. Have it somewhere in Europe.
Have it in Brazil.
Have it in Brazil. Have it in places where you know the fans are going to turn up. Have it in a place where, political Julian here, residents are not going there scared that immigration is going to take them away. I know this is not FIFA's fault, but the general climate of the U.S. right now is not one where you should be having a global football tournament.
Yeah.
It's not. Have it in Brazil, have it in England, who obviously have their own political problems, right? This is not just a U.S. problem. But at least there, you know they're going to have the football passion, and it's going to make the overall viewing experience better. It also means that it's going to be at a more ideal time for most football fans. And then all of a sudden, people feel better about the World Cup, or Club World Cup, sorry. And then it actually grows into something that you could shop to the U.S. My other issue.
Oh, God, there's more.
My other issue is I don't think that the World Cup format is optimal here. I don't think that you should just format it off the World Cup. I don't think that you should do this form. I don't think you should have 48 teams at the next Club World Cup. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it 48 teams for the next Club World Cup.
You don't think that's the play?
I don't think groups are the play.
Really?
I think what you do, March Madness format.
Oh my God.
March Madness format. You invite 64 or 128 teams to this tournament. If they get bounced in the first round, they get bounced in the first round. But I'm telling you, single elimination play, you are hyped. You are hyped from the first kickoff. And imagine you have that in like a Brazil or in the UK or somewhere where the fans are gonna turn up.
Would the fans really respond to that though? It's a very Americanized. It is literally an American concept.
You're not branding it as March Madness format. It's also, I wouldn't classify single elimination tournaments as just an American thing. I wouldn't classify it as that. I would just say we're inviting 64 teams. That way we can have Arsenal come. We could have Cruz Azul come.
Yeah.
We could actually open it up to the teams that are doing really, really well, like at the time, not just because they won the Champions League in 2021, but because that they're doing really well, their coefficient is high, and we actually want to have the best teams here. You seed it 1 through 64, whatever it is, and then in there, I guarantee you will have us upsets.
Will it attract as many eyeballs though? You're telling me?
I think you will.
I don't think so.
I think you will.
I don't think you're telling me people are genuinely gonna watch every single game in the first round. No, there's gonna be too many games to watch.
Are they more excited for first round or opening game of single elimination footy, or for Group A, Inter Miami versus Al Ahly?
I was excited for Group A, Inter Milan, Al Ahly. Any World Cup opener is gonna be hyped.
Obviously, but what about a World Cup opener with stakes, win or go home?
Maybe it's
stakes?
because I'm a little bit stubborn on that topic in terms.
I don't think it's just, I labeled it March Madness format, but it's literally just single elimination tournament. You don't have to call it March Madness format, obviously not. But I'm just saying, whenever March Madness rolls around, it being a single elimination with fairy tales, with players going on insane runs that will be fables for years to come. That shit sells, dude.
True.
And it's so fun to watch. I watched I think it was Virginia lose to a 16th seed, and I'm like, wow, that
FDU.
That's the stuff of dreams. Yes, ball knowledge.
FDU, believe it.
There you go.
What a call.
There you go. You will have games where Mamelodi Sundowns gets a result against Dortmund. And it's a fairy tale, right? And the attention that brings to Mamelodi Sundowns is crazy, because with single elimination footy, yes, a lot of teams will just get bounced in one game. Sure. But you're way more likely to get an upset than if they were to play three games and going off through points.
Sure, I see your point.
And you're way more likely, once you get to the round of 16, the quarterfinals, to have some wild cards in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because all it takes is one game for the PSG, the Man Cities, the Juventus, to just have one bad day and they get bounced to Al Hilal or whatever. That shit would be fun.
True.
That shit would be
Sure.
fun. I don't like the whole groups format because the more games you have to play to make it to the next round of the tournament, the more you return to the mean.
The
mean
harder it
being
becomes for the
for
lesser. Yeah.
the lesser teams to upset the big boys. The more likely it is for the big boys to end up at the latter stage of the tournament. You know?
You might.
Because
You're a good businessman. You know. You might have just sold me there.
I try my best, man. You don't have to call it March Madness format,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just like you have to accept the fact that the disparity between the Europeans and everybody else is so huge.
Yeah.
And the World Cup format doesn't work because you're so much less likely to have the upsets you have in the World Cup, where a France team is playing Switzerland. And the disparity is there, but not anywhere near the level of Bayern Munich against
Auckland. Yeah.
Auckland City, right?
Yeah.
So you have to change your format to that. You have to change your format to something that is going to give the smaller teams a little bit more of a chance to go far and is going to make it more watchable from a fan experience. Because at least then, if you're tuning in to Bayern versus Auckland City, you know that no matter what happens in that game, whether it's 10-0, whether it's 0-0, that game has stakes. Every game has stakes. So you'd be wrong to not watch every game because every single game matters. I'm not watching. Actually, I am watching. But until a week ago, I was not watching Sundowns versus Ulsan HD.
Yeah.
I was not watching that game. All right? I'm not tuning into every Urawa Red Diamonds game. I'm not. If Seattle Sounders versus Botafogo last night was single elimination and it was win or go home, I would have tuned into that game. But because it was 10 p.m., I was a little bit tired. It's only the first game of Group A. Botafogo is probably going to win. Then it's like I could do with not watching that.
Right.
I'll watch the highlights later. You know? That kind of shit. Plus, you're also competing with the NBA Finals going on at the same time.
True.
Stanley Cup Finals going on at the same time. Second half of this tournament, you also have the Women's Euros going on,
Mm-hmm.
which I'll be locked in for.
Yeah. Euro U19 as well.
Euro U19 going on. You seen there's
Portugal
like
tied to France. No.
and Poland's also in that group.
Really?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah, we should
That's
be locked
crazy.
in on that. Anyways,
Who's the fourth? Georgia?
yes.
Yeah.
Rodrigo Mora should be there. And I'm just like cluing in my head. He should be there. A lot of players should be there that are not going to be there because of the Club World Cup.
Desiree Doué should probably be there.
Fuck. That'd be unfair.
Yeah. Mayulu time.
Yes, should be Mayulu time, but no, he's playing in the U.S. right now.
So what?
I don't know.
No,
I think that kind of
like-
kills that tournament.
I like your point. I do.
I
wouldn't
think that
mind-
World Cup format favors the big teams here.
Yes,
in this
it does. I
scenario.
wouldn't mind, especially in a club World Cup.
Yes.
It doesn't favor as
It
much as the
doesn't-
big teams when it's a national. But when you have when
Yes.
it's a national tournament, but when you have a team generating hundreds of millions of euros every single year
Yep.
versus a team that can't even make it to the professional level because they don't nearly have as much funds that are the funds that are needed to make it to that professional level, then obviously yeah.
Mhm.
I like the point. I like your point you're making there.
Also, don't have ice officers at the game, but you know.
Just test it for 1 year. Test it for 1 year would be my solution. If it works, then you stick.
Yeah. We're officially less than a year away from the World Cup here in Toronto.
Yeah.
I wish I attended that event downtown, but
Yeah. I didn't even know it was happening.
yeah,
I would have booked off work and everything would have gone. So
Mhm.
a lot of people there too.
a lot
Ben
of people there.
Black
Yeah.
was there.
Yes,
Actually, there was a Juve event the day before.
and he was there for that.
He was there for that. Yeah.
Anything else to get into around Club World Cup?
I don't think so. Big games today.
Big games today.
Big
List-
game
list
for
them
my
off.
for my Tunis US Tunis.
Espérance de Tunis played
Esperance de
today.
Tunis Flamengo today. We will be there.
Wow, that's going on at the same time as the Canada game.
And I even wore the opposite team kit today. I wore the Flamengo jersey today.
Why are you doing that?
It's because it's bad omen. That's why.
You're trying to curse them?
I'm trying to curse them.
There you go.
Yeah.
Chelsea versus LAFC at 3 p.m. Boca Juniors versus Benfica at 6 p.m. I'll be locked into that. And then also, we have Club World Cup games going on. Canada actually play tomorrow. My apologies. We play against Honduras at 10:30. Lock in for that.
Little Gold Cup.
Little Gold Cup action. I think Canada. I think we stand a good chance. Have you seen like
I seen the group.
the U.S.'s form lately?
Yeah, I mean they just absolutely smashed Trinidad and Tobago 5-0. But then again, it's Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, but they got smashed by Switzerland too.
They did.
4-0 in 40
I also
minutes.
saw that
I
the
know
U.S.
it wasn't their
didn't.
strongest
I also
team,
saw
but
that the U.S. didn't bring out their full squad or like the
they did not.
strongest team.
They did not. No.
So
No.
trophy to be won for Canada. Why
It's
is Saudi
possible,
Arabia
dude.
in this tournament?
They're in this tournament.
Yeah.
What?
I'm wondering.
Are you
I see all these.
Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia is in the Gold Cup?
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Oh, what are we doing?
Why? Like why?
Oh, the game is so gone. The game is so gone. Why are Saudi
Genuinely why?
Arabia in the World
Genuinely
in
why?
the Gold Cup? What the fuck?
They beat Haiti 1-0.
Oh my god, they play the US on Thursday. Oh my god, what are we doing? I think they're in the last one too.
Were they?
Yeah. No, they were in the. Oh my god. No, this is pissing me off now. This is pissing me off. Nothing against Saudi Arabia, but like we know why you're here. It's just like, come on, bro. And did you see as well? This is allegedly that so the zone paid $1 billion for the Club World Cup rights because no one else was paying anything for it. You would say that $1 billion is a bit of an overpay.
Yeah, it's
You
quite a bit
know?
of money.
Yeah, like what?
Could do
No
with
one,
that.
no one else is bidding anything.
Could do with
ITV
that.
bid
Right.
£0 for the rights in the UK. BBC offered the same thing. So it's like, where are you getting $1 billion to spend on the Club World Cup? Weirdly, at the same time, does Zone get $1 billion investment from Saudi Arabia? Also, at the same time, Saudi Arabia get the rights to the 2034 World Cup. Odd. Anyways, Saudi Arabia, I swear, we're also in like Asian Cup or something. I'm trying to look at their.
Well, that makes
form,
more
but-
sense.
Yes, that makes
That makes
complete
more
sense.
sense
That
than a
makes complete
CONCACAF
sense.
tournament.
Why the fuck are they here? Oh my goodness. Yeah, they're fixtures. Let me see. Can we go back here? They were just in the Gulf Cup. That makes sense.
The Gulf Cup,
World Cup qualification through AFC, which is
makes
Asian
sense.
qualifying. That makes sense, right? Have they been in any others? They were just in the Asian Cup as well. That makes sense. Yeah, World Cup.
I think it was a
Gulf
club,
Cup.
if I remember correctly. It might have been a club in a CONCACAF style tournament, like an Al Hilal or something.
Yeah, FIFA Arab Cup they've played in recently. It's just like, why are Saudi Arabia in the Gold Cup? That makes zero sense. I'll look into that after, but I literally just found that out now. Why are they here? Oh my goodness, money runs the world. Oh, doesn't it? That's crazy to me, bro. And they could actually do well in this tournament as well.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia in the the Gold Cup.
A little bit of transfer talk before we end it off.
A little bit of transfer talk before we end it off. Any signs for PSG lately?
No, but we officially put in a bid for Ilya Zabarny.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Very excited. That's the position I said that we should target. Although Marquinhos is still
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I think if there's one position that we need to strengthen, it's there, and it's also a backup for Nuno Mendes. I think that's the main two we should do. But happy for that bid, from that bid.
Another story that we haven't really touched on this pod is Florian Wirtz to Liverpool. It seems like he has his medicals booked for Friday.
What a move.
What a move.
Great move.
100 million straight, and then like potentially 10 add-ons or 15 in add-ons.
I thought it was 50 million total package.
No. Like, I was surprised that it was, and this is confirmed by good sources, that they're just paying 100 million pounds straight.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's like 110, 120 million euros straight, and then with potential add-ons. So it does add up to potentially 150 million euros in add-ons, or maybe it was dollars. I don't freaking know. But not a bad deal for Florian Wirtz, to be honest.
A very good deal from a Liverpool standpoint, who are positioning themselves very, very well to defend this title. You look at the positions that needed to be strengthened in this offseason, in the summer transfer window. It was a right back because Trent left.
Yep.
A left back because Robertson is going to leave.
Yep.
And if there was one position on the pitch where a player was good but not outstanding, it was center attacking mid with Szoboszlai, who had a better second half of the season than the first, but you could tell that there was you could do better at that position. And they've positioned themselves now with getting Florian Wirtz for that position, with getting Jeremy Frimpong for the right back position, and now they're going to send in a bid for Milos Kerkez in a little bit.
My question is, and this ties into the Florian Wirtz signing, is what's happening at the striker position. Darwin Núñez looks linked to leave, and Szoboszlai, to your point, had a really good end of the season, and it really looks like he's kind of like getting comfortable in that position under Slot's system. So I was talking to a Liverpool fan about like, oh, Szoboszlai was like really good. Like, I don't know why like you'd spend this much to replace like a decent part of your team. And he was like, you know what? I don't think he's going to take Szoboszlai's position, Wirtz. I think he's going to play the Bobby Firmino role.
Okay.
And play as like a false 9. And I thought about it a little bit. I was like, shit, that could be dangerous.
That could be good.
That could be dangerous.
But then that means that Szoboszlai would drop into kind of more of a little bit more defensive-minded midfielder then. You can't have a center attacking mid and a center forward at the same time. It just doesn't.
That is true.
It doesn't work that
Although
way,
I wouldn't doubt that Slot could kind of make it work. I'm thinking of the proposition of like Wirtz in the pocket, and then as like Diaz,
rumored
Salah
to leave as well,
like
no?
inside forwards, potentially.
Mhm.
I don't know if he will though. It could just be a play to get a new contract. I don't know.
I like the move though. I really like the move and how they're positioning themselves for.
I think whatever position he does end up playing for Liverpool, God, it's dangerous. Dude.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch him in the Premier League. You know who else I'm excited to watch in the Premier League?
Who?
Mr. Ryan Cherki.
Uh,
Did the Here We Go happen before
yeah,
last episode?
Yeah. I don't even know.
Did we touch on it?
No, we haven't touched on it.
Man,
So
that's a
say
great
your
signing.
piece.
That's a great signing. And it's also a good value signing where it's only 30 million. If he does end up flopping, then no one's really going to bat an eye because they're not overpaying for Ryan Cherki. But from what he has said and from what he's been producing in this last season, I'm very, very scared for the version of Ryan Cherki that we're going to get next season. Did you see what he said about Man United?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bro, oh my God.
He
Say it again.
he was frustrated, obviously, that Manchester United knocked out Lyon in the Europa League after that crazy game that ended, 5-4?
Yep.
That ended 5-4. And in his latest press conference, he said that he would aim to kill Manchester United. Now, if that isn't the mentality that you want from one of your players, I don't know what is.
A very high chance he just does not start against us.
No,
I think he could come in and instantly like dominate. He could also come in and just take 2 years to really get going under Pep.
I don't see that. I seriously think he has the talent to come in this Manchester City team and seriously do some damage. And it could all start at this World Cup.
I don't think it will. I think he has a slow start. I think it takes a little bit to warm up to the league.
I think you're underestimating him, brother.
I'm not underestimating him. I think he's a fucking fantastic player. I've also seen players of that same caliber go to Man City and look a little bit muted, at least for the first couple of months of their tenure there.
I think
right?
when
You still have Phil Foden in that position. What is happening to Phil Foden? Everybody's forgetting about Phil Foden. If Ryan Cherki does well, what happens to Phil Foden? I have no idea. If Cherki's doing really well, that's kind of like that's kind of stopping Foden from playing. And then it's like, why did you sign this guy if you have this Mank who is like supposed to be like lifelong servant of the club, who is really fucking talented in his own right? I don't know what's going on there.
I think when you have the technical ability and the
I'm not saying they
creativity
shouldn't have signed Ryan Cherki. Definitely not.
of Ryan Cherki, then you just put him on the pitch and let him cook.
But Pep is not the
Of
type of
course.
player to, or
Yeah,
not the type of
manager,
coach
yeah,
to
of
do
course,
that,
of
bro.
course.
He's the last kind of coach to do that.
Yeah.
If Cherki was going to any other club, I would be more optimistic for his instant production. And I'm not saying he'll be bad at City. I am not saying he'll be bad at City whatsoever. I'm just saying every signing that City makes, they take a little bit to warm up to the league. Like, he'll go.
Like Holland, yeah?
I'm saying, especially in like the midfield position, I'm thinking of Savinho, I'm thinking of Jack Grealish, I'm thinking of every single player.
Like Kevin De Bruyne?
He didn't even fucking sign under Pep. Stop trying to, stop.
Like a Riyad Mahrez?
Riyad Mahrez kind of took a little.
Oh
No, he
my
didn't.
God,
No, he
come on.
didn't. He did well. He did well at the start. But Turkey is not Riyad Mahrez. He has not played in the Premier League before. And if you want to talk about players that have proven in the Premier League before, then look at Jack Grealish. Look how weird this tenure has been of Jack Grealish at Man City. And look at the different player that he is now. Like look how different he plays with the ball. It's like it's like Pep's killed him. I don't think he does that with.
No.
But Savinho and Doku, not the same players they once were
You
under
think
Pep
so?
Guardiola. I'm just the
No,
trickery.
We were saying the standout player of this poor Manchester City season at the half season was Savinho.
Yes, I said that, but not. It's not the same Savinho.
And it's
It's not
the
the
same.
same Savinho.
It's not the same Jeremy Doku who's providing 4 assists in one game.
And what else did he do?
He's a very electric player.
He is electric. I'm not doubting their ability. I'm saying that what makes Ryan Cherky great is kind of juxtaposed with the types of tendencies that Pep Guardiola brings out in a lot of players like Cherky.
But you're saying Doku and Savinho are players like Cherky. Doku's always had a finishing problem, even at Rennes. He's always been that guy that can drive down the line, take his man on, and then ultimately create a chance for the striker, which he did very good in his first season for Holland.
Yeah.
Savinho's been doing it very well this season. So the players that you're giving me here that are counter examples to Ryan Cherky it's not translating here.
Jeremy Doku in particular has had I think an overall slower start to City. Not saying that he won't be a fantastic player. This is the thing at City. Players, for the most part, can be like not having that much of an impact in the City squad and then just explode and just perform when they're called upon. But I'm just saying that squad is so deep that being called upon is sometimes a rarity in the City squad. Sometimes you could be playing your role and having a good game under Pep, but that role will be Pepe eyeball a little bit, and it won't be like you creating magic on the pitch like Ryan Cherky is used to creating. I don't know. I also don't know the area of the pitch that he operates in under Pep. Like does he play on the wing? Does he play as like a 10?
I think he'll mostly operate him as a number 10, as a creative 10.
Yeah.
I think so. It's very hard to predict what the output's going to be, to be honest.
You also have no idea what it looks like without De Bruyne. I mean, you kind of do. But he could come in and dominate. I am not denying that at all. I'm just saying, if he does have a slow start to his Man City career, which is very possible, I would not be ringing the alarm bells. I'm saying this as a compliment to Ryan Cherky and the well-oiled machine of Manchester City. Sure. He could come in, do nothing the first 6 months, and from February to May, he looks like the best player in the world. That's what happens at Man City, and that's what to a frustrating degree. Mm-hmm. The amount of players they have that could just that could take over the league by themselves is crazy. And Ryan Cherky is just another one added to that arsenal. So I really don't know.
We'll have to see. I think, especially with the wingers that City have, the Doku and the Savinho, his creativity is just gonna go up 10x against Germany in the third place game. Ryan Cherky doesn't have a great game because that's what I think. Because the formation and the way that Deschamps set it up, it was Marcus Thuram on one side as a winger and Colomwani as another winger. They are not natural wingers. The best of Ryan Cherky that we see is when he is able to facilitate for top-class wingers. That's why we saw him so good against Spain for his little cameo there. And that's why he was able to play so good for Lyon this season, because he was able to facilitate for Malik Fofana and for all the wingers that can make that final difference. That's what Doku and Savinho can do. Having Doku and Savinho on both sides, I think it's going to be heaven for Cherky to just feed them, find that intricate pass in between the lines. I am so high on this transfer. I think he can seriously impact the City team way quicker than people like you may think he can.
I also just would not be surprised if Pep does not start him for a while. Let him come in, get used to the whole process. He's still young, let's not forget. And then lean on, some more experienced players to start in most of the games to start the season. That's not going to be a hit on Ryan Cherky. It's not at all. It's just Pep will very rarely just throw a young player in the deep end. He will nurture them for a while.
Yeah.
And then by year 2, 3, because of that nurturing in year 1, they're a monster, right? I would not be surprised if in that 10th position, he goes for something else. Or if for whatever reason, he's not really looking to replace De Bruyne's creativity and ends up going for something different. I would not be surprised at it. I would not be. At the end of last season, Man City ended the season very, very well, right? And that was without Haaland, right? Right? If they follow like that general system, I guess they had De Bruyne for a little bit of that time. But it kind of like in and out the squad.
Yeah.
But they found success without Haaland and without De Bruyne for a while, and they could just lean on that to start the season, and I feel like Pep wouldn't be too opposed to it. And then eventually you bring in Cherky, you kind of dip his toes in the water. Like, I very rarely just see Pep throw somebody to the wolves like Cherky would have to do at almost any other club he would go to. You go to any other club besides City, you are starting week in, week out, and the expectation for you to succeed from your manager, from your teammates, from the media, from everybody is perform right away. It's a luxury of riches that City has, so much so that Cherky can come in and not take it easy, but he could be a little bit patient. Because if he goes to, for argument's sake, he would never do this, but if he went to United, he's starting week in, week out. He has a rough month to start the season because it's a new league. It's a new league. Like, he doesn't work in the system like as much as he thought he would. Then, like, that really plays on his psyche. Going to City, you can afford, a couple of bad games. Pep will throw his arm around
You don't have
his
as
shoulder.
much pressure.
I'm not saying he'll have a bad start because he's not as good as we think he is. I think he's amazing. I am salty as fuck that City are getting him. Are you kidding me right now? But I'm just saying, because of the nature of Man City and because they're so spoiled with riches, that's why I'm a little bit like Cherky can afford a slow start at City more than he could afford it at any other club in the world. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I also will not be surprised if that does happen and some morons in the football world are calling him a flop early days. Yeah. That's what I don't want.
Yeah. Will you be surprised if he starts right away and
not?
Okay.
Also not. I have no idea what's going on in the mind of Pep Guardiola. I think that's who matters most in this equation.
Sure.
Maybe, I think Cherky has the ability to absolutely light up the Premier League. I also think he will need a little bit of adjustment time to a certain degree. One thing's for sure, though, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I am too.
Yeah.
Very contrasting opinions on that.
I'm curious to hear how the other boys think about that.
I think yours is very logical. It's very logical, and it's not... You're taking into account the Pep Guardiola factor and how he's treated all the youngsters before. Yes. And all the newcomers before. He's never really thrown anyone in the deep end right away.
I think Pep this upcoming season is really going to lean more on Phil Foden. I don't know what position that'll entail. I don't know if he'll play on the right or the left or through the 10. I don't know what that looks like. But if he does, then, that's kind of time taken away from Ryan Cherky, which is possible as well. Pep wouldn't be wrong to do that. But, other transfer news going on is... a weird Victor Osimhen situation, kind of tying into the weird Gyökeres situation we have going on. Ekitike is now being linked to Manchester United.
I saw that.
Who I don't want.
You don't want?
For £80 million? No way.
Yeah, 80 million is crazy.
No way.
80 million. You remember him at PSG?
He played for PSG?
He played for PSG. We got him from Reims. He initially transformed his game, or played very good in Ligue 1 for Reims.
What kind of era was this?
This was 2021, I want to say.
How old is Hugo, bro?
What? 2021, I think, is when he kind of tore the Ligue 1 season, or the Ligue 1 by himself.
Yeah.
For Reims.
22.
Then PSG pay a big bag for him, thinking that he can be the next Mbappe kind of style player, club legend that can score a lot of goals for when Mbappe leaves the club. He absolutely shits the bed. and then goes to Frankfurt and lights it on fire. A lot of players like that have done kind of poorly for PSG and then go on to like a German league and done well. Ekitike is one of those players.
It's a very different kind of PSG as well, right?
Yeah.
If he came into this version of PSG,
I don't think he'd fit the profile of this PSG, to be
Okay.
honest, of what
Okay.
Luis Enrique wants. As
he's
his
an
number 9.
out number 9.
He's a number 9.
He's
He
not like a
also had
9.5 type of thing.
He can be a 9.5. He's very technically adept on the ball.
Mm.
I was talking about Samu Omorodi Samu. How he's, for a tall player, he's very technically gifted.
Yep.
It's kind of that same thing with Hugo Ekitike.
Okay.
But 80 million is a lot of money, and I don't think he's worth that price tag.
The track record of Eintracht Frankfurt selling strikers to big teams,
Not great.
step away from there.
Yeah,
Kolomwani, Niko Jovic. Yeah.
I think so.
Jovic to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I guess Marmouche has turned out pretty well, to be
Mhm.
fair. To be fair. But Ekitike for 80 million is just not the risk we should be taking. If we're going to spend 80 million on anybody, it should be Gyok. Which
Really?
is probably not going to happen in its own right.
Wow.
Because another story came out that his priority is Arsenal.
Really?
You didn't see it?
No.
Fabrizio Romano posted the other day that there's like a weird love triangle going on
Yeah.
of like Ekitike wants United don't want Ekitike. United want Gyökeres doesn't want United.
Mhm.
Gyökeres wants Arsenal
Doesn't want.
don't
yeah.
want Gyökeres.
Yeah.
It looks likely they'll get Sesko, but to have Gyökeres as your second option is a pretty good second option.
Yeah.
The latest on this was Victor Gyökeres' priority to join Arsenal this summer, despite calls from Manchester United in the recent weeks from Fab. Gyökeres always an option amid Sesko talks, with no deal sealed so far. Arsenal keep assessing the situation. United remain keen, but believe deal is now unlikely for Gyökeres.
Okay.
So that kind of leaves United with like not
many options. Yeah.
going on here at the
For sure.
striker position. Liam Delap we wanted for a little bit. He went to Chelsea. Gyökeres, we are kind of seem like the only team in for him now, but then there's kind of some weird situation going on between him, his agent, the sporting president. Apparently he wants Arsenal. I don't know how like kind of reliable these stories are. You also seen like the story about like this pact that apparently he had with Sporting, and now the sporting president is going against that, and Gyökeres is very unhappy with Sporting.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what ends up happening. I don't know if he goes to another club. I don't know if Sporting just ends up keeping him because nobody's really trusting the situation. It seems really messy. And we kind of talked about the other week where there was something going on with Victor Gyökeres. I think we're now realizing what that thing was, and it was two very different prices being thrown around between the Gyökeres camp and Sporting themselves. So it seems like now Gyökeres is coming out saying like there's been a lot of stories, like you don't know what's true, like I'll speak when I need to speak type of thing. So I think there's a lot of misguided stories going around. So I don't really know what to believe. But from a United perspective, the striker situation, I don't know.
And what do you do with Højlund and Xerxes as well?
That's the thing,
You
right?
just keep them, or you?
The other option on the table for us apparently is Mateta.
Okay.
Mitrovic for a little bit there.
Oh my God.
Look, Mitrovic is like a sub. If we're not paying a crazy price, whatever. But we need a starter, dude. We need a starter. I don't think Højlund should stay. He was linked to Juventus for a little bit there. I think he would cook at Juventus or any Serie A team. But he just will not do it at United. Like I've lost all confidence that he will ever be the player that I think he could be.
Okay.
It makes me sad. But the latest with Victor Osimhen, on the other hand, is that Al Hilal are not giving up on him, want to submit a new proposal to the player. It seems like
he doesn't want Al Hilal.
It seems like he doesn't want Al Hilal. A reason for a little bit there was that they weren't giving him enough money. If Al Hilal is not giving enough money, I don't know if anyone
who is going to
who is giving money. Race remains open as Galatasaray and Premier League clubs are still active on Osimhen, while Juventus have recently called again. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
It'll develop more in the coming weeks. I'm excited for this transfer window, you know.
I am. Maslow Skelly, also on the verge of signing a new deal at Arsenal.
Great. Good for them.
Good for them. Good for them. Garnacho is confirmed to be leaving United. I think we kind of knew that was happening. Gattuso confirmed for the Italy job.
Yes. Brings a little bit of passion to this seemingly passionless or lacking passion Italy team.
I don't like this for Italy.
Really?
Pioli was such like a tactician, and he had done so well there. And now going from that to Gattuso, I don't know how I feel about it, dude.
You can't. Can you really rely on tactics as much as you do for your national team?
I guess that's a good point as well.
Like Gattuso has won the World Cup with Italy. He knows
true.
what it's like. And if you want a guy to bring passion and to rejuvenate a team spirit, look no further than Gattuso.
I guess, yeah.
Look no further than Gattuso. I mean, how many managers are kind of not as big on the tactic side of things, but have gone on to achieve so many great achievements with their national team, like in terms of national teams coaching?
I suppose you're right. Tactics don't really matter as much on national teams. It could also go very badly.
Yeah.
Like I think Roy Keane managed Ireland for a bit there.
Yeah.
Like it did not go well.
Mm-hmm.
Pioli had done so well.
Milan?
Yes, at Milan. That I really felt better about his chances at Italy. He didn't end up kind of delivering how we thought it would. I guess ever since they fired, was it Mancini that they won the Euros with?
Yep.
Mancini. It's been a very awkward state for Italy.
It has.
I think a big problem for them too is the kind of players that they have at their disposal.
Yeah.
Not something that you'd be used to. You know, in 2021 they had players like Insigne, who was really cooking there. Chiesa was at the top of his game. Now you don't really have that as much. Retegui you have coming through is maybe like an option for the future, and then a couple of other options in the midfield. You have the Inter boys as well, but just the depth of the Italy team is not something that you're feeling great with.
If you're Italian, you're not feeling the best.
You need to go on a run like you had with Mancini.
Yeah.
You need to inspire something through the manager. Gattuso, I don't think has that same effect.
Really?
I don't think so. In other news, Granit Xhaka linked to AC Milan.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That could be something. PSG I'm now seeing linked with Ilya Zabarny. I have not seen from this point. Matisse Tell signing permanently with Spurs. Poor guy. Am I salty? Absolutely. But poor guy. Pioli will sign a 3-year contract with Fiorentino as new head coach.
Really?
Yep. What else we got? Olympique de Marseille is signing Angel Gomez.
Saw that.
Angel Gomez.
They were also in for Rooney Badji. Is that his name?
Regan Riley.
No, but they were in.
Oh, different guy. Okay.
You know the Copenhagen guy that scored against you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, they were in for him, but they withdrew from the race. So kind of happy there because he's a good player.
Fuck that guy. And then Bournemouth signing Adrian Truffert to replace Kirkes.
Cool.
And Andy Robertson leaving.
Seen that.
All right. I think that's everything.
All right. Good little games going. I think there's a game right now. No,
Please,
what's the score?
Benfica win today. Please. Starts at 3.
Oh, there's no game at 12 today?
I guess not.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see it on follow up anyways. But anyways, that'll be another episode of 6ixYardBox Podcast. Good episode.
Solid little episode.
I think we do need to make another episode like later in the week.
We'll pod Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, I like that idea. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, hope you have enjoyed the Club World Cup as much as we have, clearly. Up the Sundowns.
Up the Sundowns,
of
baby.
Course. Everybody, if you are listening on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things, leave us a comment. If you're watching on or listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, leave us a little 5-star rating and let us know, do you like my March Madness idea? Because I am very high on it. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the 6ixYardBox Podcast. Me and Antoine will see you all very soon. Goodbye.
We out.
See ya.